Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend-Gard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School, and I just want to quilt. So today we talk to Eileen Keane of the Appliqué Society. She talks to us about all things appliqué. She's awesome. She's kind of got me thinking I should learn to appliqué. So I hope you enjoy this interview, and let's learn about appliqué.
My name is Eileen Keane. I'm calling from Maybrook, New York, which is about halfway between New York City and Albany.
Interesting.
I just lost your picture.
Yeah, I turned it off so that the audio is going to be a bit stronger.
Okay.
Somehow it doesn't. Right. It's not as good. Okay. So New York. So that's really interesting. We were in New York last year, and it was really interesting to see where quilting is happening. Do you feel like New York City's got one shop now, right? They've got Gotham, but
there's another shop. There's another shop down in the 20s. I haven't been able to make it down there yet. I'm not sure of the name. But don't forget, New York City is not just Manhattan, which is where Gotham is.
That's right.
I think there's a shop in Brooklyn as well.
Right. And what was interesting about Gotham, when we were there, Gotham was teeny tiny. They were in a little teeny tiny office building. Now they have a street shop space, I think.
Yes. Yes.
But and they were charging a lot of money. You could just see that real estate matters for quilting, and sort of the ability to have a shop, the pricing you have to charge. It's not really conducive to a place that real estate is very high. Thought that was really, even the difference between New Orleans, we don't have any shops with long arms. But then when I went to Atlanta, all of the shops had 2 and 3 long arms, which was really remarkable, right? And huge space for classroom space. We have teeny tiny shotgun with a tiny bit of classroom. So it was the kind of the space of quilting became something really interesting. Tell me a little bit about where you are in New York, and what do your shops look like? Are they big shops? Is real estate expensive? Sort of how do we understand where you are in terms of?
Okay.
Yeah.
My area is, I guess you could call it semi-rural.
Mm-hmm.
We are a bedroom community area for New York City, but we're about an hour and a half drive north.
Interesting.
So, yeah. But people from here commute to Manhattan every day. They take the train.
They take the train.
Yeah. Real estate and taxes can be pretty high in the Hudson Valley. We, median houses are somewhere in the 250s, 300s.
Yeah.
So I guess compared to New Orleans, that could be pretty expensive.
Yeah. So are your shops big shops or little shops, or sort of
They're the one shop that I go to the most, which is in a small village about 10 miles from me, is it's on the first floor of a multifamily house, and so it's got multiple rooms. They have a long armor, but not on site. She works from her home.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the other one that's about half an hour, 45 minutes in the other direction from me, they just moved to a new shop, and they have a list of long armors that they refer people to.
That's interesting. So
they don't have the room in the shop per se, because both places are big into sewing machines.
Oh, interesting. So that makes sense. All right, well, this is totally not what we're supposed to talk about. We just made a list of things that we're supposed to talk about. That's probably why I can't do half an hour with anybody. Okay, so why we're here is because you are vice president of the Appliqué Society.
Right.
Tell me, first of all, in case people are listening and they don't know what it is Appliqué?
Appliqué is the art of applying one fabric on top of another, like flowers, photos, things like that. making portraits, making landscapes
Right.
with,
It can get really
fabric.
complicated. Right. So, but for people that are kind of like, it's kind of like scrapbooking, but with fabric, would you say? Like on the most basic level, but then it can be like art quilts that are like super, super complicated, or there's lots of ways to think about it, but you're taking bits and pieces and putting it on.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like scrapbook.
Appliqué is French for applying, so yes.
And what kind of appliqué do you like to do?
Myself, I do pretty traditional appliqué. I'm in the process of trying to learn to do landscape quilts, which is a different mindset than floral. I do a lot of floral. I haven't finished much, but I start a lot.
I get that.
Yeah, I'm a great starter, not a great finisher.
I understand.
I do. Yeah, go ahead.
And how do you do it? Do you do needle turn? Like, needle turn is putting a little bit of fabric underneath, or do you use any kind of, do you stick it to anything? Like, what's your process of doing the appliqué?
All of the above. I do needle turn. I do what they call prepared edge. I recently back in February, I went to a class at the Academy of Appliqué in Williamsburg, Virginia, and took a class on prepared edge where you turn the edge, apply starch to it, and then press it down. And then all you do is stitch. You don't have to hold the fabric in place with one hand while the other hand is stitching. But I like needle turn as well, depending on what you're doing, how big the piece is, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the points and everything like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Why appliqué? What appeals to you about it?
Oh, it's a lot more forgiving than piecing. Piecing gives, when I go on my sewing machine and start to do piecing, I get very tense, and I prefer hand work.
Yeah.
Hand piecing takes too long. I mean, I will piece if I have to, or if there's a project I want to get done, or if someone needs a baby quilt, one of my friends for their grandkids or whatever, they need a baby quilt, I will definitely piece for them.
And when you do the appliqué, are you making your own patterns or using somebody else's, or both?
Both.
Interesting.
I use a lot of patterns, but I kind of deviate from them.
Yeah.
To try to put my own spin on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I kind of time myself to see how long I go before I kind of go off the road of whatever the pattern thinks I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh,
like a day, 10 minutes. Like at what point did I be like, nah, I don't want to do it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel that way too? Yeah. Yeah, I think patterns are there to be suggestive, or maybe if you don't know how to do something, sort of walk you through it. But it seems like they're tools. They're like the same thing as fabric, right? You can use them or not use them.
Right, and I look at a pattern like a recipe.
Yeah, tell me why. So
that the first time I use it, I'm going to follow the instructions. But once I get used to it, I kind of do my own thing.
Yeah, that's right. That's totally the way it's supposed to be. And the law is really interesting on that, because we don't protect recipes.
No.
So, isn't that interesting? I mean, I know we protect patterns, but we don't protect the instructions for patterns, which is
well, I look at the pattern as being both the picture and the instructions.
You think the pattern is the instructions?
Yes, as well as the picture.
You do?
Because if you're going to if you get a pattern, when you buy a pattern, you are buying both.
Yep, you are. You totally.
So in my mind, the instructions are as copyright protected as the picture.
How you do it. Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Do you put it on whole cloth, or do you how are you doing it on squares? Like, what are you doing with the applique?
If I'm going to make a pillow or something like that, that would be, I guess, considered a whole cloth, because I only do 12 or 16 inch, and that's the entire thing. Yeah. But if I'm going to make something that's a wall hanging, it will have more than one square. And the squares are depending on how intricate the picture is or how large the picture is going to be.
Yeah.
Like a landscape could be something like, some people do them, they're like 4-foot square sometimes.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, so tell me a little bit about being vice president of the Appliqué Society. What is that, and where is it?
Okay, the Appliqué Society was founded in 1996 by Anita Smith out in Washington State. She loved appliqué, and she had an idea that she could get together with others who felt the same way, and it started small, and it basically spread, not like wildfire, but it spread across the country and into Canada. And we're besides the Baltimore Appliqué Society, which promotes basically Baltimore style.
Yeah.
We promote all styles of appliqué: hand, machine, raw edge, anything like that. We don't discriminate against any appliqué.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we are at our height when we were right now we're all digital. When we were both I guess real world and digital, you could say, we had like 4,000 members. Oh, wow. 1,400 members. 1,400 members.
Really interesting.
Yeah, our membership has decreased somewhat because of the fact that there are quite a few, there's a lot of people, older quilters who are not computer savvy, and they really, or they don't own a computer.
Yeah.
And they have no interest in buying one just for that.
Right.
So our membership has dropped, but we're working on getting it up again.
Interesting. And it's like $25 to join. You just go to the site, and the site is called theappliquesociety.org.
Yep, that's it. That's us.
Yeah, and we'll have a link to it. So tell me, if I join the Appliqué Society, what is going to happen? Why should I join the Appliqué Society?
Well, we have a bi-monthly newsletter with free patterns and interviews and book reviews.
Oh, cool.
And things like that. Yeah, because there's always new books coming out as far as appliqué. Oh, and wool appliqué and everything like that.
Oh, wool is like a thing. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's its own separate entity, but we will take it under our wing.
That's really interesting. Have you ever done wool appliqué?
Yes, I do that as well.
Is it itchy?
No, not at all. No.
I know that's really stupid.
No, it's no. That's it. It's a good question because of the fact that that's how people think of it. But when you felt it, it's very, very tightly woven, and you're only holding it in your hand.
Yeah.
You're not
wearing
putting it on like a sweater, let's say.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have 2 kits of wool, but I just haven't gotten to them because I was like, I don't know, it just made me nervous. So,
unless you're highly allergic.
No, I'm not. I just thought it was wool. So I don't know. I just thought, I don't know. I don't want to.
What's really nice about wool is you don't have to turn under any edges.
Interesting. Oh, because of the way it's constructed?
Yeah. It's even easier than regular appliqué. You buttonhole stitch or whip stitch to hold your pieces down.
That's very cool. Do you ever do buttonholes? Do you ever do machine appliqué or just hand?
I'm trying.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying.
I know.
Like my machine like I said, when I sit down on my machine, I start to get stressed.
Yeah. It shouldn't be stressful, right? Like, this is for fun. You shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. And then you have chapters of the Appliqué Society. Tell me more about that.
Well, the chapters, you only need 3 people to start a chapter. Yeah. And we encourage monthly meetings. It's almost like a little quilting bee. But you get together and you don't have to charge dues or anything like that.
I like it.
Get together and sit and stitch or you can discuss maybe what's been in the newsletter. You can do charity work together, anything like that.
Interesting.
But it's nice. Because sometimes quilting can be solitary.
It can. It's true.
And this way, you're getting together with other people that like the same thing you do.
Got it. Now, if you had an Appliqué Society, does each person then do the dues? Is that how it works? So that so you have each person do the dues, which is like $25 a year.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Cheaper than a magazine subscription sometimes.
Oh, it's true. It's very true. We're in Quilt Folk magazine. This one that they just did, and that's like $25 for just one magazine.
Oh yeah, I subscribe to that.
You do?
Yes, it was a great article.
Yeah. So, okay. So tell me, I'm contemplating that maybe JustWannaQuilt might think about being, one of your chapters. We could potentially think about that in New Orleans. How would we go about if we acted? I'll put it out there to see if we can get 2 more people at least that are interested in Appliqué. Appliqué is something on my list of I've done it, but I don't feel totally comfortable with it, which is kind of dumb because I think it's. I did cross stitch forever in my life, so
well then
it should be fine. But I don't know.
It might be that wool applique would be something that you could start with, so you don't have to worry about turning down the edge.
Turning it under, yeah. No, it's true. And there's so many times when in patterns, I think about the Splendid Sampler, the Pat Sloan Project, and others, where appliques are just a skill we all should have because patterns require it. And then suddenly we're like, oh no, now we have to do the applique part. And so I think it's really important for people to recognize it. It's kind of one of those things of like, just know how to do it enough.
Yes.
So what would you say the Appliqué Society, so tell me one more time, if people are listening out there, the benefits. So I'm looking at member benefits. So you get a newsletter.
You get the newsletter, which has interviews, patterns, book reviews, chapter happenings. That now that we brought up chapters, so this way, excuse me, if somebody wanted to, let's say, I live here in New York. There are no chapters in New York. There aren't any. I've tried.
Yeah.
People really aren't interested in joining. They say that they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
That's the idea, is not to have to do it on your own. It's to have the camaraderie and even fellowship of being with other people that are interested in the same thing you are.
Got it. Now Now, do you ever have like shop memberships so that the shops don't have to have individual members, or is it always just the individual membership that
we have what we call we call ourselves TAS, which are the initials for the Appliqué Society.
Okay.
We have what they call TAS-friendly shops that will allow chapters to have meetings, let's say, in the classroom of their shop when it's not busy, and they don't charge them. But then the people are coming in, and it's very possible that they'll buy something while they're in the shop.
Oh, that's really cool. You don't have any in Louisiana. I'm going to try to see if one of our local shops would become a TAS shop and see how we do that.
Fantastic.
So if people are listening and they want to be a TAS shop, how do they and to be a TAS shop, does it cost anything to be a TAS shop?
No.
Or you're just listed and then I think this is what we want to do with JustWannaQuilt, because you're saying please visit these TAS-friendly shops and say hello when your travels take you near them. That's kind of what I want to do with the JustWannaQuilt project. I want to have shops that so you'll have to help me figure out how to do this, that are JustWannaQuilt shops. Like, we know that they know what we are and they're nice, and that we have our only rule, this is my thought, is be kind. Because what I find is that sometimes shops think that, so I have a kid, she identifies they identify as trans, they wear a lot of really cool makeup, their hair is a very different color, some different color every day. And sometimes they're a bit rude. And that they don't get is that, they're the purchaser, right? Like, I don't really buy stuff. They buy stuff, I make it. So they're really catering to them.
Yes.
And so I think like my only rule for if we do the Just Want to Quilt shop is don't judge somebody by the way they look. You know, if a man comes in, they may be a quilter. Like you don't know. You just don't know, and just be nice, right? Like I just don't understand this, you know?
It's the same thing as if a man were to walk into a shop. Exactly. I have a good friend who he's a quilter.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, people give him, you know, the side eye when he walks in.
Yeah.
Because he's, you know,
right.
He's gay.
Yeah.
And so, well, you can't be here to buy for your wife, so what are you doing here?
Yeah.
That
exactly.
type of attitude.
Yeah,
and
it's just not cool, right?
I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all.
And now sometimes I announce to them, like, when I'm in a shop, because I go to a lot of shops with this project, of like, you need to be like selling to this beautiful thing right here, because I'm not buying, they are. Right. So, you know, like, then they're nice to her. But, like, that's not cool. You should be nice to people because you're nice. You know what I mean? Like, shops should just be nice, you know?
Because when you think about it, that person can spread the word just as easily as anybody else. And if they are not welcomed, then they're going to tell someone who tells someone, etc.
That's right.
And that's, because it goes back to being a long armor. When somebody doesn't like what I do to their quilt, they tell everyone they know.
I know, right?
If I do something great, they might tell 3 or 4 people.
I know, it's the worst, right? Like,
you know, why can't good news spread as fast as bad news?
I totally agree.
And that's my feeling about it. And if I walk into a shop and I'm not made to feel welcome, or I feel another thing I can't stand is when they stand there and they look at you, and they don't speak.
Yes. What's that
about?
And
they wait for you to speak. What happened to hi, welcome? You know, we're glad you came. Whatever happened to that? Yeah.
Right. A friendly shop. The other ones,
exactly.
And then some of the shops are like the ones that. So that doesn't happen all the time, but some of the shops that you know are like. It doesn't happen now because I usually have like a video camera and an audio equipment with me, so everybody's very nice when I come in, which is, you know, great, but it's different. But when I was just regular me, like I wasn't cool enough. That one, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like this kind of goofy girl, and like I wasn't in their cool club, you know. That bugs me too, you know. And that happens all the time too. I'm not saying to me. I mean to me sometimes, but you like. You know, if you've got a regular shop and they're like, oh, well, it's like high school, and that's not cool.
Yes,
like, nobody wants to be in high school again, right?
Been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
No, like we only have to do it once, you know. So those are they're my complaints. So you have Taz friendly shops. That's so great.
Yes, we do.
Well, we should try to get someplace in Louisiana, in New Orleans, because you don't have any in New Orleans.
That would be wonderful.
If other people are listening. Go on their website, and if you want to have your little group or your local shop, again, it only takes 3 to start a chapter. It would be so much fun. This would be great. This is
and
really
what shops can do also is if you're trying to start a chapter, you can go to a shop, and you can say to the shop, if I can get several people together, can we use your classroom?
Right.
Shop says sure. You say, okay, can I put up a flyer?
Yeah.
And to invite people to an introductory meeting.
Yeah. Or ask them to put it in their ask the shop to put it in their newsletter, because they all send out newsletters. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Or guilds, like your local guild.
Local guild. That's right.
Because like my guild has what they call sit and sews.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. One of those could be a Taz meeting. It's not that hard.
Interesting. Now, the other things you get for membership is discount at Keepsake Quilting. So tell me a little bit about that discount.
Well, I've not used it myself because I'm drowning in fabric right now. But it's a 10% discount on anything you buy as a Taz member.
That's so great. And then you do get like a card or something so they know, or a code?
Well, we have membership cards. We have membership numbers.
Oh, cool.
And you supply them with the information, and you get the discount. We also have discounts at Joann's.
Yeah, tell me about it.
For
See that
people
too.
that are not close.
Tell me about that one.
Yeah, it's the same type of a thing. It's 10%, and you just present. We supply a card, what they call a VIP card, to Joann's.
Oh, interesting.
You bring that in to Joann's and show them that you're a member.
Yeah.
Usually people go to one Joann's shop.
Yeah.
And have the manager or somebody sign off on it, and all you have to do is present that at checkout, and you will get 10%.
Oh, that's really cool. Now, how did you set that up? Do you know how that got set up?
I don't know, because that was set up long before I ever came along. That's been like for a very long time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's that was something that was done at the corporate level, whereas Keepsake is a I think they only have 2 stores. And they're both up in New Hampshire, if I'm thinking right.
Yeah, they're like a big deal.
Right, and they have a big. Yeah, so it would have to have been done at the corporate level.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to look into that. That's very interesting. Well, this has been really. Look, we did it. We're almost. Except we haven't talked about your long run business. Let's quickly tell me how long have you been long arming?
18 years.
Wow. What's the machine you use? What's your favorite? What do you
I
use?
have a Gamble Classic Plus with an IntelliQuilter computer.
That's great. Gambles are so pretty. They're so pretty.
Well, they're a workhorse. They are definitely the workhorse of the long arm community. Yeah.
And then do you is that sort of how serious are you with long arming? Is that their full-time job, or do you how much of your life does it take up?
Depending on business up and down and everything like that, it can be anywhere from part-time to full-time.
Wow.
And I like doing it full-time, but I also like working on my own projects, which is why Appliqué is wonderful, because I can have it in my hand.
Yeah, and it's different, right? You're not at the machine. Yeah. You're not. Yeah. That's so funny that domestic machines stress you out because you're a long armor. How funny are you? That's craziness.
What can I tell you?
I know. Quirky. That's funny. How much of your stuff do you? How do you like the computer side of the? Do you like doing that part of it?
Well, I had to do it in order to stay in business because I was injured on the job.
Oh.
So it was either, progress with the times.
Yeah.
Or I would have had to sell my machine. And I did not want to do that. I've had my IntelliQuilter for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really great. Now, how hard was the learning curve on doing the computerized stuff?
Oh, very easy.
Really?
Yeah. It really was. The system that I have is on a tablet.
Uh-huh.
And it's I'm trying to think of the system. It's a Linux system.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it doesn't, there's nothing else on that tablet.
Got it.
Just that.
Interesting.
And the online and telephone support is fantastic.
That's really great.
From that company.
Yeah. Gamma's supposed to be fantastic.
No. The IntelliQuilter. The IntelliQuilter.
Oh, the IntelliQuilter. Oh, I see. IntelliQuilter. IntelliQuilter is not part of Gamma?
No. IntelliQuilter, they strictly sell the computerized aftermarket add-on to long arm. Any brand of long arm can have an IntelliQuilter. Yes.
Interesting. I mean, they're at their site. Oh, how interesting. And why did you do that over the Gamma version of it? Was it have better features or cheaper?
It was price. Price was one thing. And also with the Gamma's system is called the Statler.
Yeah.
And with the Statler, it's at one end of your table.
Uh-huh.
And it has a CPU and everything like this. With the IntelliQuilter, it's mounted on my machine, and it goes with me.
Got it. I see that. I really see that.
Yeah.
And then I'm here, and there's a whole bunch of different versions of it. Does it matter which one do you have? You have did you say classic? No.
I don't.
You don't know.
I have. Well, there was only one. There was only one model when I bought
there was only one at the time. Got it.
But mine does custom and all overs and everything like that. So I probably have what's now the top of the line, but back then was the only one.
Very interesting. Well, this is really fascinating. That's really interesting that there are these systems out there that are third-party systems for the machines. That's really, interesting. And you say that they're really good in terms of support, and you really like.
Oh, definitely.
Interesting.
Definitely. If I have a problem, I have a thumb drive. I download what are called my logs onto the thumb drive. I send it in, and I usually have an answer within 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, that's so cool. You don't even have to explain to them what the problem is. You're just giving them. Oh my gosh, they're
engineers.
That's really interesting. Love it. Very interesting. Okay.
Can I tell you the name of my business?
Tell me the name of your business.
It's designingquilts.com.
Designingquilts.com. Cool.
Yes.
So let's take a look at that real quick. See, half hour. We're great. We're going great, right? And then not so much now. Now we're at 40 minutes. Okay, welcome to Designing Quilts. There we go. Long-arming T-shirt quilts. You do T-shirt quilts as well?
Yes, we make T-shirt quilts.
That's really cool. Long-arming. Look at that. That's so great. That's really cool. And you charge a little more than 2 cents per square inch? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Interesting. That seems to be...
That's the market in my area.
That's really interesting. Huh. Interesting. And then thread. So you're doing... You're buying the thread wholesale and selling it to them.
Well, I don't... Yeah, I charge a flat rate for the thread. And... because I'm going to use it on more than one quilt. I am not going to charge somebody for a cone of thread that I'm going to use on 40 people's quilts.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. You do like $6 for the first and $3 for each. That seems really fair.
Yeah.
You're getting, and that's probably about how much you're, right. Now, Hobbs 80-20 is the batting you're using. Why?
Yes.
What do you like about the Hobbs 80-20?
It's got a nice loft to it, and it also, it's fairly dense.
Interesting.
For anything larger than a queen, I do use the Quilter's Dream, and I use the Select loft for that.
Because
it's a medium loft.
Interesting. Because of the weight issue?
Yes.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. So are you just getting the big, huge rolls of the Hobbs? Yeah.
Yes.
And then and you're charging them by what so when you cut it, I have a big roll, and I find it really annoying because like there's bits of extra all the time. So are you charging them for what they use, or how much you have to cut off the roll?
If somebody gives me something, well, it's 96 inches wide.
Right.
If somebody gives me a quilt that is, let's say, 60 by 80, I need a little extra on the sides. So I will cut maybe about 64, 65 inches.
Yeah.
Well, I charge them for.
Yeah.
I don't charge them for the 96 inch because I turn the batting so that it's the 65 is the width.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then what if it's like a smaller quilt? Are you just charging them so you have a bunch of extra pieces?
I have extra pieces.
Yeah, that's
from my own work or anything like that. Yeah, if somebody had I make baby quilts for my friends' babies and everything.
Yeah.
I will trim those, and then I'll have nice pieces of batting left.
Yeah.
I do not put pieces of batting together for client quilts.
Not for client, but for your own.
No.
Do you do it for your own?
On mine I might, depending on the size.
And depending on the reason, right? So if
Yes.
it's just some sort of silly kick around thing, it doesn't really matter. But
exactly.
It's like more important. Yeah, I get that. Well, cool. This is so interesting. Thousands of patterns, right?
Right,
Right.
because instead
Very
of,
good. You said due to
yeah,
copyright, I can't reproduce them here, but they can go on your quilt. Yeah,
yes.
tell me your thoughts about that, about not displaying them on the website, but you're okay. Where do your patterns for the quilts come from?
There has to be over 50 websites that sell digitized patterns. They have the designers, they work specifically with the designers, or they are the designers, and they sell the patterns to us. We buy them. They know that we're buying them to be used on customer quilts.
Yeah, right.
But I will not,
You can't display them because that's
right,
because somebody else could copy it then and all this other stuff. Can you
exactly.
send me links to some of those sites? I'm going to ask
Sure.
you to send a bio to me, even if it's one. I don't know if you have one on your website, but it can be from there too. About yeah,
Okay.
and also then the links that so the Appliqué Society. A link to your long arm business, and then for me, just personally, some and the thing we talked about, the software for the long arm, and then also the companies with these patterns, because I'd like to take a look at them.
Okay.
Haven't done that.
When you say the software, you don't mean the IntelliQuilt, or you mean the
Yeah, the IntelliQuilt. Yeah,
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of both. Yeah, both. Both.
Okay.
That'd be great. Cool. And then in your email, remind me that we're going to try to think about maybe having a shop here for the Appliqué Society, because I'll forget. So yeah, and then we'll go from there. This is so cool. Well, we see, how can you talk for a half an hour? There's too much to talk about, right?
Definitely.
And it feels like we're cutting our conversation short. So
Yes, it does.
Let's keep chatting. And we didn't even talk about Academy of Appliqué. We kind of have to do that. What is Academy of Appliqué? You said that you went there. What is that exactly?
An applique artist named Ellie Sienkiewicz started the Academy of Appliqué in Williamsburg, Virginia, a long time ago. When she retired, another woman took it over, and her name is Barbara Blanton. And every year for a week, they meet at the hotel, the resort hotel on the Colonial Williamsburg property.
It's really, I'm at their website. It's really pretty.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And they have all these teachers, and basically they do, this was the first year they had sit and sews, but they do 3-day classes, and it's a 6-day academy, which is wonderful. Now you can I didn't stay there because I'm lucky enough to have a timeshare in the area, but you can stay there and it's all inclusive. The only thing that's not included is dinner. Your breakfast and your lunch is included. You bring your own supplies. The teachers included. The teachers' fees are all included and everything. Yeah, it's really, really great. And they have all levels of classes, I'd say, from beginning up through advanced. And it's mostly teachers who are in the Baltimore style, but it doesn't have to be.
Interesting.
There are other styles as well, depending on if the teacher puts in an application to teach there.
Really interesting. For those that are listening that don't know, and we've said it a couple times, explain what the Baltimore style is.
In the 1840s and 50s, the more well-to-do women of Baltimore, Maryland, they had leisure time on their hands, and they were able to start stitching. And what they did is they did applique. When you say a Baltimore album, very often they were given as gifts to friends, or perhaps their ministers or priests who were leaving the area, and it was something to remember everyone by. Or it could be a family album, and it would have the family names incorporated into it. And it really centered in and around the city of Baltimore before the Civil War.
Interesting. And they're very flowery and they're very pretty. And once you start to see, once you know what the style is, you kind of recognize it. It's very recognizable.
Yes, it's very recognizable. And you also see themes. There are themes that go through most of them.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, a lot of them will have the books in the center. They will, or in one of the blocks, they will often have ships because someone's going on a journey or has arrived on a certain ship. They will have a lot. There's a lot of floral blocks in Baltimore, and very often the borders.
Yeah, a lot of floral. That's what I always think of.
And ribbon work. They have a lot of ribbon work in them.
The ships are really fancy. Yeah. There's a lot. Oh, this is very cool. The ships are gorgeous,
aren't they?
Wow.
Yeah.
Someday.
Amazing. It's on my bucket list.
To do a ship one. That's really great. Oh, you are wonderful. I am really feeling like I should do more applique. You made me feel like I should, embrace my applique world. I also think I'm going to try to do the wool kits. I'll have 2 of them. I'm going to try one of them because I haven't even opened it. That's how ridiculous I've been. So,
and if you have any questions,
I am so emailing and calling you. So we should do a follow-up. Okay. This is super great. Yes. Let me, the other ones are the Splendid Sampler. I'm doing that, and there's a whole bunch of applique in there, and I just keep avoiding those, so I'll probably try to.
Okay.
All righty. You're wonderful. Send me all that stuff. Do you need to review this before we post it, or are you good with what we chatted about?
If you're good with it, I'm good with it.
All right. I am good too. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, let's chat again soon, and I look forward to chatting more about applique. This was good.
Yep, and I'll see you on Facebook.
So this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard. You've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. We want to hear from you. Join our army, our quilting army. Go to our Facebook page. Suggest people